Welcome to the tech capital of the world. My name is Bobby Davis, I'm a founder of Coder Foundry, and I'm joined by Kevin Doyle with the chill beats this morning. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm good. How you doing?
It's like a fall beats, chill beat kind of day.
It is, isn't it? We're gonna do something new. I'm gonna leave the chill beats playing.
Okay, let's do it.
I don't know how. Is that you hear that?
I can hear the chill beats.
Okay, I'm gonna leave them on. I got a whole playlist.
We're copying Alex Lee from Tech Rally because I saw him playing the chill beats on a Friday night stream.
Yeah, he said this, and I was like, oh yeah, I like that. So let's copy
him. So
Alex, shout out to you, I guess, for the chill beats different playlist. I don't know what playlist you're using, but this is from Soundstripe, I guess. So a little bit of new music. So we're gonna do a few things today. We've got a topic to talk about. We're gonna talk about 5 mistakes. So I put out a tweet the other day, and I thought it was kind of cool. So we decided we're gonna talk about that. But one thing I saw overnight, which I thought was kind of cool, was so Adobe put out a whole bunch of new products, right? So one of them are new like versions of products, right? They unified numbers and everything. So I use the Creative Suite a lot. So one of the things they put out was a new version of Adobe Xd, which is like their prototyping tool for web stuff. And there was a feature in there that stuck out to me, and it was support for Lottie. And I was like, what on earth is Lottie?
Yeah, I hadn't heard of Lottie till this morning either. So I
asked
really
you, and I was like, you know what this Lottie thing is? It's like, no. I was like, okay, let me look. This sounds interesting. So I looked it up. There's obviously the big thing now, introducing Lottie files for Adobe XD. It's actually literally on their website. So Lotties are basically like GIFs, whichever way you prefer to say it. Yeah. But they are fully browser supported, and they are, look at that, 600 times smaller than a GIF. They're very, very small. GIFs can be kind of small anyway, but they're very, very small, and 10 times faster. And the cool thing is, these people have put together a bunch of little animations. Check these out.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, right? These little loading animations are cool, look. Like, I could see this being like a loading animation for a page. I could see this being like when you check something and it like, check mark.
Some of them are Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are like full on. So, you know, the shopping cart ones are cool too, look. Little shopping cart things when you check out. I can imagine hovering over a button and like clicking that, and that little animation coming up, and then you seeing that animation on the checkout or something. That's super cool. Giving away a prize maybe for like this on your site. A little pop-up comes up, and it's like, the cool thing about these two, they are JSON based, so they are vectors, so they're super scalable too. It's cool stuff. And they're easy to implement too.
Check it out, and then you can probably download these and edit these in the Adobe Creative Suite.
They're actually you can, you can. But look, you can actually add in, like, so you can change all the obviously the stuff on here, but you can, if you come into here and go to Interactivity, look, it actually shows you how to. If I scroll down here, how to install it, how to install Lottie, and then how to actually edit in. Look, they literally give you the text.
Okay.
They give you the code.
Yeah, I like it,
they give you the code. Yeah. It's very, very easy to implement. It looks like. I haven't played with it yet, but yeah, I was like, oh, okay, cool. So this is lottiefiles.com. I will throw that in chat so you guys can.
Lottie, that sounds very British to me. Like it's like a British.
I don't know where it came from.
Brain or something. I mean, so like I don't know what it's.
Yeah, I don't know. It does, doesn't it? It sounds like someone's name, doesn't it? Like Lottie.
Yeah.
I think it is a name. I could see that. There you go. I threw it in chat.
But yeah, I thought that was cool. The other thing that I thought was interesting is that Adobe Photoshop is now going to be in the web browser.
Yeah.
And and it's written in WebAssembly, which is kind of cool. Now it's not in Blazor, so like but when people think that WebAssembly is not going to be a thing, I keep telling people you need to pay attention to it. So it is written in C++. They're using something called Emscripten to be able to compile it into WebAssembly. But this we said this before, like Premiere will be in the browser before long. Like, I'm sure they haven't released it yet because it doesn't quite do what they want it to do. But like, Photoshop's their first foray into this. So
exactly. So actually, Illustrator as well. So Photoshop and Illustrator. Although apparently Photoshop is more widely available, the Illustrator is in kind of a more closed beta at the moment. You got to apply to get into it. But so that's both, you know, vector-based and non-vector-based programs they're throwing up.
So maybe I'll do a demo with online Photoshop once our Creative Suite we get access to it, and we could do something next week and just show you how the photo editing works.
Yeah, exactly. I think you still have to have a Creative Cloud subscription though too. So
well, that makes sense.
Obviously, it's not open to everybody, but it's like, you know, and it doesn't do everything that the desktop version does.
No.
But still seems kind of cool. Like if you're in a pinch and you
need
to do
something real quick. Where that's
definitely.
Yeah, you need to do something quick. I want to edit something, or I want to pull something down from the cloud file and change the text on it, and then save it back up, and then you have my changes or whatever from cloud, which is kind of cool. You know, if I'm on the road or on a low-powered desktop or something like that. So
the cloud stuff they've been doing in Creative Cloud, I know it's called that, but the cloud stuff they've been doing too is kind of interesting in terms of saving files as well. So I'm obviously here on my setup here, I'm running a Mac Pro and a Windows machine. So it's like sometimes I'll have done something on the Mac and then I'm like, oh man, I'm on Windows at the minute. I don't want to like change everything over. So I'll just open it up as a cloud file, have Photoshop running on both, and whatever I've done over there, I can now do over here. It's cool.
Right.
It's very good.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the Frame.io integration into Premiere. I think that's going to help a lot.
So
like I'm looking.
They have a plugin that I've got to run on. Did I get it working? I got it working on the Mac, but couldn't get it working on the Windows machine. Don't know why.
Right.
So it's not fully integrated, but they do have a plugin, so you can do it already, and you can. So you're in Premiere. There's basically another tab that comes up, so I can view and edit or pull in directly the Frame.io video. Okay. It only works on the Mac so far for me. I don't know why.
All right. So if you guys are into like video editing, making YouTube channels or whatever, we use something called Frame.io for sharing videos back and forth. So if y'all didn't know, one of the things that we do is like I'm in a different location than Kevin is. So like what you're looking at, and sometimes when we film video from here, I'll take the direct file off the camera and upload it to Frame so that you can then turn around and edit. And so
get a much higher quality video that way. So when we're pushing something out, it looks better versus me recording it remotely. Yeah, it doesn't push the best quality.
So, okay, so leave us a question if you got burning questions. We're gonna cover a couple of topics this morning we think is important to you guys. Some of the things I see when I'm trying to find students jobs, which we're in this season right now. We're working with a bunch trying to get them into roles, things that we see that are problems, even when they come out of our boot camp, students continually make. And so you've got like a little work frame for them. I may add to those as we go.
But feel free. Feel free.
Exactly.
So I put out this tweet, and this is what kind of spawned this topic. I was like, let's talk about the tweet that we put out. So we did this yesterday. So this was the 5 mistakes new developers make when trying to break in. So there are the 5 things that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. So the first one is talking about stack. And so stack is the things that you know. And you hear us say this over and over again. And this isn't necessarily a problem coming out of Coder Foundry, but when I interact with other students or other people trying to learn to code, specifically for people on the self-learning track, okay? You see all this advice out there. It doesn't matter what language you learn. And even from someone from the .NET team said all languages are the same. And some guy said, well, have you tried F# versus C#? I'm like, I know they're not the same. So like, and the guy was from the .NET team, so he kind of ate his words on that. But I think that what people don't think about is how does the thing that I'm learning line up with the jobs that I'm going to apply for? And so especially when you're coming in brand new to the industry and you're just trying to break in and you don't know a whole lot coming in, it's seeming the advice is, it doesn't matter what I learn, as long as I know how to code, they'll hire me, which is kind of true, except that typically companies are hiring on a specific stack. And so like what you'll say is, you'll see this on Twitter where guys are saying, oh, that's not true at all. When I interview, I look at the problem solving and I don't care what they've coded in. They can learn the rest, But we know that in practicality, if 3 people are interviewing and one of them is really smart, all 3 are really smart, and one of them has done only Python development, but we're doing ASP.NET as a as in the shop, and then someone comes in with ASP.NET, they're going to hire the ASP.NET guy.
Yeah, we've seen it. Like, we see it all the time.
Yeah, unless this person coming in where their stack doesn't line up with what they're interviewing for, just blows them away, which
can happen.
Let's be honest, most people interviewing for a first software job never blow anybody away. Sometimes they do, okay?
Yeah.
But for the most part, we're having to work really hard to show our stuff, to show that we're capable of taking on the role and being able to help the company succeed at whatever they're trying to build. So I think that if you have the stack aligned with what they're doing, it gives you a leg up, and then just interviewing that stack. Hence the reason we say, should I learn Python first? And we always say, are you going into data science?
Right.
Because if you're not, you're wasting your time. Well, it's a great scripting language. I get it, but like, it's used for data science. So like, doesn't mean that you can't build websites for it. But if you look at website development under Python versus website development under .NET and C# or JavaScript, React, it's not even close. I mean, like, so like, you need to make sure that your stack aligns with what you're trying to build. So first off, pick a job function and then learn the most popular stack inside that job function. And if you can't think of anything to build, then start with web development, because web development is still to this day the most in-demand job out there versus data science versus desktop people or embedded engineers or, you know, OS developers or whatever it is that you can think of that you may do for a living. Web development jobs outpace those by far any other type of discipline that we could have in here. So
I think the problem with that,
chase game programming, you can,
right?
Just know that it's harder to do because there's less opportunities there than there are for web development jobs. So
I think the problem with that statement of you can just learn anything to learn to code, it's while it is true, it is true from an academic standpoint. Right. And that's the way that people that's the way they're saying about that. Yes, if you want to learn to code, it does not matter what language you're using on an academic standpoint. You can pick any of them. I would say if you want it purely for academics, pick Python because it's easy.
Yeah.
It'll teach you enough stuff. It's easy, great. Go with Python. But what are you actually doing with it? Like you said,
exactly.
Pick what you're gonna actually do with it, because you're not. If you're just learning academics, great, have at it. You can learn anything. It doesn't matter. But if you want to learn to get a career and get a job, it does matter what you pick.
Yeah, and you have to build a specific. You're going to be asked to build specific things using specific tooling. So pick the tooling that's going to get you the job and the language and the stack that's going to get you the job first before you go on your learning journey. And if you're going web development and you're sitting out here and you're asking these questions, you have to know HTML, you have to know CSS, you have to know JavaScript, you need to know a server-side language. So there's really a lot of things inside of web development you need to know. Can you get a job with HTML only? Yes, there are jobs out there, but they're not, when we're talking about full stack web dev where the salaries are fairly high, just knowing HTML, well, you can break in with it. But like realistically, if you want to move very far in your career and have a lot of opportunities, being a full stack web dev is where it's at. You know, so, but can you make lots of money just knowing front end? Yes, but that front end is going to involve JavaScript and some kind of React framework for sure. Because you got to be able to build components and you got to be able to build other things. Now, can you just be a graphic designer? Yeah, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about coding job.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
I noticed in chat, Alantonio used his special team member chat to push it up there. I can't push it up on the screen though. It hasn't pushed across for me to be a comment to push it up on the screen, which is kind of weird. But that's probably because it's a new feature. But you get
so the feature's just not in there.
Exactly. Okay. But if you're a channel member, you get to do that. I think once a month you get to push that up on the screen. So that's kind of cool. Okay. So
just read it back and we'll get it. Since we can't put it on the screen.
Yep. Says he's rereading Breaking the Code book. Helps keep him engaged. and then a straight up sales pitch. Get the book. It's a must.
Great weekend.
So
get it anywhere books are sold pretty much. Yeah, Breaking the Code, you can get on Amazon for sure. You can download it in there's an ebook, there's a PDF version, you can get that hardback, the sweet hardback, there's the paperback, and then there's also the audiobook too as well.
There's the audiobook too. You can get it on whatever the Amazon audio thing is. If you join that, you get it for free.
Audible.
So Audible, that's it. Audible.
So if you're on Audible, you can get it on Audible.
Choose it as your free book when you join Audible.
Yeah.
There is a link down below too. Anybody who doesn't have the book, you can get that Amazon link.
And you know, just to know, just in case you get Audible version, I'm not reading it. We hired someone professional to read it. So
yes.
We actually auditioned 5 people. I remember listening to the samples and then who we picked. So
and we didn't pick the one that sounded like you as much. I think I can't remember how we did decide. We had a differing of opinions, didn't we? Inside, we ended up voting. Yeah. It came down to 2, didn't it? It was like, oh, this guy or this guy. It's like, okay.
Actually, what it came down to, we voted, and I'm going to spoil it here. We voted, and then we didn't like the ones they voted for. Me and you just picked it eventually. So
yeah.
Remember that they all liked one guy, and we're like, we're not picking him.
Yeah, I do.
So
I do.
We picked the guy that we liked. So there was the illusion of voting. So
the illusion of voting. It's an actual dictatorship. It's just like it was the you can have a vote, it doesn't really count.
I'm not listening to it. I'm picking this guy that I like. So but
that's funny. That's funny.
That's kind of funny.
No, but it came down to 2, and but I say at the end they were both good. So yeah, you want to get the book, link in the description below. The book actually covers the 5 kind of things we're talking about today.
And in more detail, tells a lot of funny stories, and then you get to see the best Spider-Man drawing of all time on page 91. So
Yep.
Anyway, so it should help out a lot. So what's our second step here? What's our second bullet point? And
let's go back to our tweet here.
Okay.
Our second step was not learning practical coding skills. So a little bit different than that one.
And so what I mean here is a lot of times we focus solely, like when you look at the advice out there, they focus solely on algorithms and data structures. They ask me, I get that asked all the time, like, should I study algorithms and data structures? And there are people that just push on that. Okay.
Okay.
He actually paid to get it.
That's funny, Antina. Yes, you actually paid to put that comment up there. Just to say. And you bought the book too, right? I'm guessing. So we gave away some copies early on when we did put the book out there. So full disclosure, we did do some signed copies early on. But I think most people have bought the book. We probably need to look at our book stats. I don't know how many we've sold, but it's been a bunch. It's been out a year now.
We sold a bunch. So yeah.
My copy was from the 25th of June 2020. So and I ordered it like day 1. So somewhere around there. I don't know what our release date was, but somewhere around there. So thank you.
But back to my point, the back to it is just like we don't focus on building projects. So like we focus on like algorithmic type things, and it's not that those aren't useful. They're very useful if you go to a coding interview and they ask you these algorithmic type things, you can pass a whiteboard challenge. But if you want to be truly successful, you have to build applications, because that's kind of what you're tasked with doing in the job and the day-to-day for web development is like, can you build a website that does A, B, and C? Can you implement those features? And so inside the self-paced course and inside the Code Foundry Bootcamp, we focus on building applications. In fact, we take some algorithm challenges and turn them into applications. And we think that's a better approach to, at the very minimum, if you're going to solve algorithm challenges, put an app around it, like where it has some inputs and then you have a submit button, something.
Make it a little bit more interesting.
That makes it a little bit more interactive than just reading things out to the console. So I think practical is taking your coding scripting knowledge and turning it into an application. And if you can't do that, it's going to be really hard to be successful as a developer. Now, you could get on a job where you're just fixing bugs, you're never really doing anything from like, the blinking white cursor screen. You don't start from scratch, you just do maintenance, which is fine. I mean, like that's fine. But at the end of the day, there's a lot that even goes into that, like how these things are put together in those kind of ways. And so I think if you can build projects from soup to nuts, you have a better chance of being successful. And that leads me to step 3, which is weak or no portfolio.
Yeah. That's a perfect leading for that.
So like one of the other mistakes that I see all the time when I'm on LinkedIn or Twitter, and you'll see this tweet, I don't know who it is, but like random person saying,
see it a lot.
I've applied 75 times and I'm getting no callbacks. The interview process sucks. or the community sucks. No one hires juniors, and I can't.
No one hires juniors is the biggest thing that we see. We see that a ton.
And then I go look at their portfolio, their links, and see, do they have a portfolio site? And almost verbatim, 100% of them don't have one at all.
Or some of them do, because one of the first things that they come back
really
is
bad.
And it's really bad. Like
really bad.
It's really
bad. And I've
bad.
shown you some bad ones that we've talked about internally. They were so bad we didn't want to bring them on the channel because
we can't, can we? Because it's like we
look like we're making fun of someone when we're not. But like, it's just really, really bad. Like, just horrendously bad. It doesn't show skill at all, or any kind of like design aesthetic or anything like that. So it has to look good. It has to function great, and it's got to put your projects on it. So.
Yep. But I would say people that push back and say, like, you know, I have a portfolio and I still can't do it. It is 99% of the time. It is the presentation of that portfolio. It contains either bad projects or sometimes no projects. Right? They don't have any work on them.
Yeah. So like
they think the portfolio itself stands.
If you go to some of the popular creators out here on the internet. In fact, one of them is real popular. I was looking at their channel this morning because they tweeted something out. But like, they've built an online Pokédex, and I think that is an example of the worst project you could put on a portfolio. Because typically, you're interviewing with someone my age, you know, not your age or whatever. And so when they see Pokemon, they're like, "Oh, that's what my kids played with." Right. And so it comes specifically Pokemon is like it's not as relevant as you think it is. Second, it usually just comes back from a web API. So there's really not a whole lot of thought and process into there. Now, what would be way cooler is if you actually build a battle between two Pokemon and you ran out the statistics and all that kind of stuff, but then you documented your process. But then you're getting into like game development, and it's not web development. So even that to me would be, it's problematic at best. And so like, the type of project you build and then the theme of the project also can paint you in a light that's where you're seemingly not serious.
100%.
That's why we don't like calculators. We don't like API only type projects like dad joke of the day. Those kind of things are just kind of irrelevant. That's not what they do.
I think the issue is you can get stuck. Business problem. You can get. I think I talked about this before, but you can get stuck in a bubble, right? Your bubble of what is a normal theme isn't essentially everybody else's bubble. So I've used this example before, but if you and all of your friends are all into anime and you live anime and it's all anime all the time, your wallpaper's anime, like it's everything anime, you're in a bubble because the rest of the world isn't anime, right? If you take that and you make an anime themed interface of some kind or project and you go to take that somewhere, they may look at that and be like, wow, that's okay, that's interesting.
That's weird.
It may not be up their street. Yeah, your normal could be somebody else's weird. And I'm not saying that's like, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I would say if you're trying to get a job, be vanilla. Just be straight down the middle vanilla on everything.
And you can be super corporate, but also being like well designed and well thought of. Like when you look at material design or things like that on the front end, it's like it's super corporate, but when you use it, it is cool looking, you know. So hey, round a corner or two, you know, you can do that. So, a little border radius, you know, so like everything doesn't have to be square, you know, like.
And I think we've also had kind of some pushback on this in the past before too, because people have said, well, corporate's boring. Like we want to hire somebody who's unique. Trust me, most companies don't. You may luck out, and maybe you go to a company and the anime thing that you've put together just works because the other guy's interested in anime. Like you just
if you're interviewing with Magic the Gathering, I mean, like, if you're interviewing there and they want to go to a website for Magic the Gathering, then it works. Yeah.
So here you go. Look, know your audience.
Know your audience.
That's Absolutely. It. Now, and chances are though, you're not going to know your audience intimately, right? So it's hard to tailor something exactly to that person. Hence, go vanilla. You won't offend anybody. You won't be seen as it being strange or being too nichey. Go corporate. And if they're looking for somebody, unless you, like you said, if you're going to Magic the Gathering and that's the job that you want, like, you know what you're getting into. Yeah, you make a Magic app. Of course you do.
Like, exactly.
Why would you not? Like, of course, that's a no-brainer. But chances are you're not going there. You're going to a corporate job somewhere. You're interviewing at a bank. trust me, the bank will value your business app over your Pokemon app.
100%.
Just the way it is.
All the time. And then when the one hiring manager that's on Twitter, I promise you, they're either not a hiring manager, or B, they're just trying to make content. Like, and that thing gets lots of likes and lots of approval. And like, I hear you, man. Stick it to the man. Make your app. Make it what you want. And then you see these people trying this, and like they don't get a job. And like, and I'm like, this is why it's really bad advice. And so like, you're not going to lose by making 3 business apps, putting them on your portfolio and showing them off. I promise you.
Right.
No one's going to look down on you and go, that you can do it. Now it has to look great, but you know, looking great isn't necessarily Pokemon. So anyway, weak projects, and I call those weeks, are the downfall of a lot of people not breaking in.
Definitely. So Cara, this is interesting. I haven't seen this, but there's another follow-up thing to this too. So it's a story about a lady who spent 8 hours a day, 6 months applying, rejected 357 times. I'm guessing, so this was a developer job, right? I'm guessing. We need to look at this because look at the follow-up comment. Checked out her portfolio and seeing all your reviews, I can see right away some of the things she probably didn't help. So that's it. It's like, but the headline is, the headline that people take away is, man, she couldn't get a job. She applied for 6 months, 357 times and couldn't get a job. We had somebody on here once before.
Wrong with the industry. They didn't hire her because of her skin color or the way she looked or this or that, or like, and they try to invent these things around it when people are just looking at it like, I don't think you can code. I mean, like, you know, the other thing that she probably did, and I need to read the article, but if you have basically applied 357 times.
Yeah, I'll tell you now, that's too many.
Now, you're doing something wrong.
Exactly.
You're doing something wrong, and you need to go back and look at your process. Blindly applying also doesn't really move the needle a lot of times, because a lot of times they don't even see your application. You got to understand that when you're on the other side of the fence like I am, and then you post a job on Indeed or LinkedIn or whatever, or Monster or whatever, you'll get flooded with applications. Flooded. Your email box is full of applications, and you know, you're trying to stand out in an email thread, and you can easily get lost. And sometimes, I know this sounds crazy, Kevin, you may not even get the application, because sometimes I've got a job out there for a .NET developer, and I'll get someone that's a cashier for Walmart applying to the thing, you know, and you can tell right away that she's applying to a different job, but somehow it got in my email box, and it was just like, it's not perfect. And then on top of that, and then you put scanners in place. So now what the bigger companies doing, they're looking at the email thread, and they're trying to like pull that into something and like automatically scan it and pull out the ones that HR can look at. And if your resume's in the wrong format and get kicked, there's a lot of reasons that can get kicked out other than what people think it is. And so if you're blindly applying, you're not going to be as successful. You got to think, I'm going to get about a 2% cold call open email rate on that. And we know that's kind of how it works. And that's essentially what you're doing. You're cold emailing HR through that application process.
While we're talking about that, let's jump to step 5. We'll come back to number 4. Let's talk about number 5, because number 5 solves exactly what we're talking about. It's working with a recruiter.
And so I can tell you by experience, not something that as a content creator, this is what I believe to be true. This is what I know to be true because I've done it. I did it this week. We had a big global company call into Coder Foundry, and they said, we heard about your thing. We want to know about your program. And they're telling me about the program, Kevin. And I'm just telling about the program, what it does. And I said, oh, by the way, have you looked at, why don't I send you such and such as portfolio? I don't want to out him right now, but you know, and they're like, why would we look at that? And I'm like, well, what you just told me you're looking for, he does all that stuff. And look at his portfolio. He's interviewing this week. Otherwise, he wouldn't have got a call, because like he would have been in the thousands of other applications that received, and he got a call back, and he's interviewing. And so like,
he literally has he has a connection. It's a referral. You've literally just you've put him on the top of the stack.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what a recruiter does. So people don't understand the power of a recommendation. They don't understand when you have a trusted recruiter and they call you on the phone, and they go, I know a person, hey, check this out. Look at this person you need to pay attention to. They're going to pay attention to it. Even if the ones coming in their Indeed email box aren't paying fees and the recruiter's charging a fee, it's the power of a recommendation. Like we do it every day in our life where we go, hey, you know, have you driven this car, or have you ate this restaurant? You know, what do you think? You know, and you can live and die by that recommendation. Like, ooh, I'm not going to get one of those. Yeah, I had a bad experience with that. You know, and so like
right.
The recommendation really does move the needle. And so you need to work with a recruiter that can sell you into the company if you're not going to do it yourself. Now, if you're going to be your own recruiter, and for some reason there's this wave that's anti-recruiting in the coding industry, and to this day I don't understand,
because they didn't call me back once because they ghosted me.
Yeah, I know, like it's like the recruiter ghosted me. Okay, we'll work with 8. Like, I mean, you know, like it just doesn't matter.
Right.
So like I don't understand the hate for this, and I keep telling people all the time, it's like, you're not marrying this person, you're not going to Thanksgiving dinner with them. I mean, like right. It's a business relationship. If they have something and you match, yeah, they're going to present you because they get paid when you get a job. So like they're very interested in what you're doing. It's just that they don't have anything that matches your skills today. And so they have nothing to talk about, you know? So I think that is a mistake that people do, is when they blast the recruiters online and then they can't get a recruiter to call them back at that point. You know, it's kind of crazy. So I think if you can build a relationship with a recruiter, will move your job search way faster, and you can still do it on your own. But if you're going to be your own recruiter, you've got to call into those companies and present your portfolio.
Yeah,
you have to call them on the phone.
Yeah,
you can't just apply blindly. You just have to call them.
There's a great technique that you always talk about too internally, and we've also talked about this before. But this is the work to a yes or no.
Yeah.
So you need to your follow-up game needs to be strong. You need to get to a point where it's a yes, I can move forward, or it's a no. You don't want to settle on a soft no, which is just like, oh, I got weeded out by a machine and I haven't heard back from them. People take that as a no. That's not a no. That's just that's a potential yes still.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing too is, notice that she took 6 months to find a job, and I don't know if that is that long actually. Like for someone just trying to break in.
Right.
And so there's this myth of, if I go to a boot camp, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to graduate on Friday. On Monday morning, I'm going to start work with 2 days off. And so like that does happen in our case in some cases, but then some people,
it's not the norm.
They need more time because they're going to struggle in the interview, and that's our number 4 that we want to talk about.
Yeah, that's exactly step number 4, which was struggling in an interview.
Yeah, so a lot of times you'll get out of your boot camp, or you finish your story, finish your Udemy course, or you went out of university, and then now you're trying to get a job, and you actually get an interview. So like you don't have a weak portfolio maybe, or you knew somebody, a recruiter got you an interview, but then we struggle in the interview, which is a combination of technical academic questions and typically an in-person coding test or a take-home coding test. Now, you as a candidate can go on Twitter all day long and complain about this process all day long. I'm telling you, it's not going to change. Like, it just doesn't matter. Like, they have to evaluate you some way, but they can't, so you have to fill out, you have to do these things. So what my recommendation is, you got to work within
the framework that is out
work
there
in the
right
framework.
now.
So this is why number 1 so important, like learn a stack and interview in that stack, is because now that once you've learned the stack, you can literally Google the top 30 interview questions for React, or top 30 interview questions for ASP.NET and C#. Study all of those and then apply the answers to your projects. So if they ask you what MVC is, you can show them in a project. They ask you what the 4 pillars of object-oriented programming is, you can show them an overload, or you can show them inheritance, and those are the kind of things you can definitely show them. If they ask you which is common in our world, what's an abstract class? What's a generic? I was just going to
say, we had a couple from yesterday, right? Abstract class.
Yeah,
what is an entity and entity framework? That was another one that came out too.
Yeah, exactly.
These are literal real questions.
Yep. You know, so those are the things you should study, and then relate them to your projects, and you'll win more technical interviews than you lose. It's not magic. It's not even rocket science. It's a lot of hard work, and as you build out your interview techniques. Now, here's what I'm saying. If you Google the top 30, and you know those top 30, Kevin, I guarantee you, you'll get one of those questions in an interview. And if you can turn that into a demo, you can win more interviews than you lose.
Well, here's the first thing we talk about in that process too, is they're going to give you, not only are they going to give you one from that list guaranteed, they're going to give you softball ones to start off with, even the easy ones, which if you can turn into a demo, you avoid the ones that are 29 or 30 are probably ones that most developers probably can't answer without Googling. You never want to get that far.
So if you get all the way down and they ask you, how does dependency injection work? And you're like, I don't know. Your problem is it's your fault for getting down there. So you need to demo way before that so that you can overcome asking all the questions that you may not be able to answer. So I think that is how you prep for it. And then you use your portfolio as a sales tool, and then use those top 30 questions to anticipate the types of things that you're going to get asked. And there's only so many questions they're going to ask, Kevin. I mean, like, it's not like there's a secret list out there that no one knows about. They're probably Googling that same list and working off that same list. That's why 100%. I think that you'll find it right away. And that's why, like, invariably, someone interviewing for a .NET job is going to be asked, what is MVC?
Plus, their expectation
of you. Asked it,
100%. Plus, their expectation of you, don't forget, you're a junior developer, which we'll talk about in the name junior developer in a second. Austin, thank you. We'll come back to that in 1 second. So you're a beginner developer anyway, right? So their expectations of you isn't that you can answer question 29 and 30 anyway. Right. So they're gonna throw softball questions at you just because that's kind of their expectation.
Yeah.
It's not that you're not at rocket levels, you're not senior level scientist yet, right? It's like, that's so.
And then practice coding style questions. You can definitely look at algorithm type questions. You're probably going to get some of those. That should be like 20% of your study for the interview, not 100% of everything that you do. But you might get asked, how do I check for a palindrome, or how do I weed out duplicate numbers in a list of arrays? You may even find like the whole binary tree thing, which then linked lists and those kind of things. You may get those kind of questions, but they're easily found. You can easily find the solution to them, and you can practice some of those to where that you can improve the odds of seeing a question that you've seen before. So, all right, what did Austin have to say? He wanted something about templates.
Yeah. So no, Austin said this is a PSA from Austin Johnson. So when you're looking to buy a portfolio template for showcasing your many wonderful projects, make sure they are not based on Bootstrap 3.
Yeah, I think Bootstrap 5 will help you out a lot if you can look at templates as Bootstrap 5 came out several months ago. So most of the good templates are being switched over to that. But also 4.6 and up is where you need to be. So
if you're building one from scratch today, go with 5. Bootstrap 3
if you're modifying it, it becomes problematic trying to make it work with BS.
A lot's changed from 3 to 5. So
yeah, a lot. That's why they made it.
So updating it is kind of going to be a pain. So that is true. And that's kind of true. You will see this. Yeah, thank you, Austin. You will see this with a lot of technologies too. You'll see things like if you're going to buy templates and those kind of things, or assets or whatever, make sure that they are kind of where you need to be, because they are still out there. There's old stuff still out there. Those Bootstrap 3 templates will sit out there for years on ThemeForest.
Right.
They just will. They sold a lot at the time, and they may even pop to the top of the list of like most sales, right? Because they've been out there for a long time. Make sure that you check which technology stack a lot of these things are built on. But,
all right. Well, cool. Well, let's answer some questions. Hopefully, they got some questions about the interview.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit out of order because I want to talk about this one first. And where did I put that?
So if you got a burning question, just super chat us, and we'd love to talk to you. Support the Taco Fund. So,
Clara's question, because it was kind of on topic what we're talking about. So is it ethical to work with multiple recruiters at once?
Yes, they'll tell you it's not, but it is. But here's what you got to do, Clara. You have to manage the recruiters, and you need to know where you're being presented so you don't get double presented. Now, here's the risk. If you get double presented at a company, because companies work with multiple recruiting firms. So
even though the recruiters don't like them to.
Yeah.
Just like they don't like you to work with multiple recruiters.
They may see your resume twice, don't know who to pay the fee for, and a lot of times they won't go for the fight, so they'll just get someone else. And so I think you just need to kind of track where you're being presented so that you can tell them if you've been presented there before or not, or if you've already interviewed there. A good recruiter will ask you that, and they know that's kind of the game, but there's no reason that you can't work with multiple recruiters, because not all the recruiters have every job. So, it gives you more opportunities.
different companies will definitely have like exclusives with certain recruiters. Like you may look at like Citibank, right? And I guarantee you they're using like a couple of recruiting firms. But there's not. But it's not a free for all. Not any recruiter can work there.
The small ones won't be on there. The big ones will be, and that's why you want to work with a national firm like Tech Systems, who we're partnered with, and then you can find some regional ones as well that may get into companies that Tech Systems isn't partnered with. But if you're hitting Bank of America and those kind of places, the national firms will be on what's called the vendor list, and that's hard to get on in the bigger companies, and that's the only way you can get in. So. Good question, Clara. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, Clara, can you do me a favor too? Can you send me that story we were talking about before, the portfolio story? I want to take a look at it. And if you have the link to the portfolio too, send me that as well. Send it to me on Discord if you don't mind. That would be awesome. I'd appreciate it. Okay. So Ali has a question. Says, "Hi everyone. I want to be a .NET dev and really want to know which topics of C# should I know before learning Core and Blazor. Can I start to learn Core without learning C#?
No.
So there's this .NET C# something happening.
Yeah, .NET is the framework. Core is the language you're going to use to build things. So, so I would start with ASP.NET Core, building applications there, and then inside of that umbrella is a thing called Blazor. So you don't have to necessarily start with Blazor right now. You can learn some other topics first, but the language is how you implement the things in the .NET framework. So they go hand in hand. And there's only one version to learn right now is .NET Core. You don't need to like look at the older version of .NET. And .NET 6 will be coming out next month, November 8th.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. Good question.
Okay. Let's see. I hope I pronounced this right. Deanne or Diane maybe? Diane? I hope I got one of those right. Is C# plus Java plus JS plus HTML, CSS good enough in terms of languages?
That's a full stack job. The only thing that's not in there would be something like SQL databases, learning how to communicate with a database. And then it also implies like typically some kind of ORM like Entity Framework or Dapper that allows you to create objects that can talk to the database. So like, but you're well on your way by building out something like that. Now C# and Java, in my opinion, in that list is redundant.
Yep.
In other words, like you're going to use C# for the same thing you would use Java. So if you're just starting from scratch, you don't need to learn both of those. You need to pick one of those server-side languages, and then you're building on the frameworks inside of those ones. So in C# for web, it's ASP.NET. For Java, that's something like Spring MVC or Spring Boot, something like that. So like, there are multiple frameworks here, but I think you'll find, in my opinion, C#, JS, HTML, CSS is gonna get you a job, and the tooling is superior to something like IntelliJ, in my opinion. So like the tooling is really, really strong on the .NET side, and that's another reason people like it.
And the order matters here too. The order that you have them in is kind of the reverse order, you would suggest.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a thing too. So start at the
front
end.
JS, HTML, CSS, you got to be able to do that, and then the back end is going to be in C# or Java.
Yeah. So start with HTML, CSS, then do JS, then do Java or C#. Don't start with the back end language first; it'll just confuse you.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Ridge Raider says, should I include projects made in the past with other older languages in my portfolio?
You can. I mean, so if you've been around for a minute, and you've been doing a lot of things, include your languages or your older stuff in the portfolio, but move the ones in your portfolio, highlight the ones that you want to be interviewed for right now. Yep. So if you've got something written in Power Builder, you're not looking at Power Builder jobs, you can still put it on your portfolio, but make sure you have stuff out front that you're wanting to be hired for right now. So demonstrate those. So that hopes to help.
That's it.
Ridge Raider 42.
Okay, Mikey says, oh, which I connected with him on LinkedIn, by the way, too. Thanks for the connection, by the way. Mikey says, currently working through the blog part of Self-Paced. I have a question regarding web design style. Oh, I like this. Is there somewhere to learn or discover your web designing style?
I think you need to stay on trend, Mikey, and look at the templates that are out there for blogs and use a template for the blog. That's what I would do.
Templates are the best place to start.
Yeah.
And try not to break them too much.
Yeah. If you're new to front end or you're not a designer, the template's going to help you a ton. And then you can just focus in on building the functionality and making it work. And then you get the result of this well-designed, well-thought-out blog site that looks fantastic, and then it has all this functionality that you're building in the self-paced course. So find a blog template and put that in your blogs, and that way you can figure out your style by looking at what other people are doing. Trends do change in web development, so they do change over time. So most of the templates, newer ones, are on trend right now. Yeah, so I think it'll help.
I'll also say, just in terms of color selection too, there's a quick little thing you can do in terms of color selection. You can do something like this with Adobe Color. So this is free. Anybody can use this. It's just color.adobe.com. You can go and choose a color there. And what I would suggest you do is you put so I put in our FF993B in here, and then go to something like complementary and pick like this plus maybe one of these other ones. So if this was me doing this right now and I needed a 4-color website, I do a couple things. I know what my core color is going to be. I'd then probably use this one. I kind of like this color, so I'd complement these two. I would then choose a near black and a near white, and bam, those would be my 4 colors. Then you can't really go wrong with that. And you start using the kind of the percentage kind of rules, where most of your kind of design has to be one of those colors, probably the dark or the light color, so black or white almost. These are then your complementary colors. Make the headers in certain places, make the text maybe this color, and you won't go wrong. It's basic kind of design theory. Make it a 4-color scheme, and you can't really mess it up.
Right. All right, cool. Who's next? Yeah, Super Chats, you got a good question. I think we're gonna get out here in a couple minutes. So, like, if you got something you want us to get to, let us know.
Yes, Mahamood says, can I include more than 6 projects on my portfolio?
Oh, yeah. Too much. Code students can have more than 6 projects on their portfolio for sure. So that's great. You want to highlight the best one, though. Make sure that the best one is highlighted, so that's the one they see. So if you have like simpler projects before the more complex project, they may only see the simpler one and rule you out and say, I don't like that project. So make sure that you highlight the most complex one, the most one that you're most proud of, the best one, ahead of all the others. So however you do that, we do it by multiple ways, but making sure that they're not just all mixed in together with no kind of sort or whatever, to make sure that you highlight them. So it's not too much.
Okay. Next.
All right.
Here's one we get quite often recently. Hamza wants to know, what do you think about cryptocurrencies and NFTs? How do you see its future?
So a lot of people are just big on cryptocurrency. So if, I wish I'd bought Bitcoin even 6 months ago, but like, so don't we all? So I don't know what I think about crypto really. NFTs.
You're not sold on NFTs yet, are you?
No, I'm not, but I've got a good idea for a use case. So like, and it's not traditional like the way the NFTs are. So, but there's something to it. All the vendors are coming out with ways to create these things. But I do think it's more than building pictures of cats and NFT and art. I think there's more to it than that. So that's all I want to say. But I don't really know exactly how to monetize NFTs at this point. But like, to me, NFTs are another form of like where you're really kind of gambling on something going up on the scarcity principle.
You are.
So I don't know. I think there's be some winners there and a lot of losers if you're looking to make money on it.
I agree.
So crypto is actually better than NFTs at my point. At the way stuff's being sold, I would much rather own Bitcoin than an NFT of, a dragon built by,
crypto and NFTs. Yeah, crypto and NFTs are just both implementations of something built on blockchain, right? So that's like the underlying technology. So I think, and I've said this a bunch, I think there's a killer app out there somewhere for blockchain that isn't like mainstream yet. It's just
I think NFTs could be used for like Super Bowl tickets, like in other words, like you can guarantee authenticate the actual NFT. So like I think like ticketing, things like that. My idea is a little bit different, kind of similar to that, but like I think what you're looking for in NFTs is something that you can guarantee the the authenticity. I can't say that
today. You got it.
How authentic this item is. Is it real? Is it the one? And I think if you can figure that out, I think NFTs have a lot of value for you. But if you want to go to an NFT market space and buy pictures of whales and cats and then try to resell that and hope to make lots of money, I mean, it's possible, but like, you know, I don't know. I mean, like, you have to really know. I don't know.
If I'm looking to invest in something today,
it's like trading sneakers, Kevin. Can you do it? Yes. Does everyone win at it? No. You know, like, I mean, a pair of Jordans just sold for over $1 million. You know, like but those are rare. That's the one pair.
That's the one pair of 85s that have never been worn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So, like, you know, but if you're looking at, it's kind of like comic books too. If you're collecting comic books today, you don't know which one's going to be good.
No.
And you don't know until after it's good. So, like, you know, if you had a Walking Dead #1, which I was around when I was looking at comic books and thinking I'd never buy that comic, and then if you had it now, you know, it's worth something, you know.
I have a number. What do I have? I have a teens. It's worth something. It's one of the early ones, but I have them all from that point on, but I don't have the first kind of 10.
You've got to have the first run or the very first Harry Potter, you know, those kind of things. So
yeah, do not have a first print Harry Potter either.
Yeah. That's what I think. I could be wrong. So
yes, this will be left up. So you can watch it from
It's always left up. You can go watch them all. So yeah.
Let me also address one thing about the video title too. I had a specific title for this video. It's called 5 Mistakes Made by Junior Developers. How do you feel about that name? Like that name?
Yeah, so I think you should take the word junior off your name and just say I'm a web developer and let them classify you what you're at. All you're doing there is reducing your potential offer from a company because they're going to offer you something, a junior salary. Now you can apply for junior roles. That's fine. Right. When they're making these posts, they'll typically say junior, mid, or senior, and that should clue you into like what the price range is they're hiring for at. But like if you say I'm a junior dev, then you're just gonna rule yourself out being considered by recruiters that may be doing a passive search. So just put web developer down.
So that includes places like on your portfolio, on your LinkedIn, on your resume,
Twitter,
anywhere, you know, anywhere that you.
Aspiring developer also doesn't scream confidence.
Same thing. You are a web developer, a full stack, front end, whatever it is. If you're a full stack web developer, you're a full stack web developer. Can you do the job? Yes, put it in the thing. You can do it.
And then put in your tech stack inside that name too. So like on LinkedIn, it's like I'm a full stack web developer using React or using ASP.NET, C# and JavaScript. So make sure you put the keywords in of your stack so they can
stand out. Yep, you'll stand out straight away.
Because they're, believe it or not, man, this is why I'm saying the language matters, is that when those recruiters get the job, they're looking for someone with the language. So,
Yep. So this is kind of related to this too. So junior developer is your level of knowledge or the time in the field. If I have the same abilities as a senior dev, but I've only been doing this for 1 year, should I go junior or senior?
They're going to look at time.
Yeah.
Very rarely does someone with 1 year know as much as a senior. Now, I've seen some seniors that shouldn't be working. I've met those guys.
We've seen the other way around. Yeah.
So like,
because they've just collected a paycheck for 10 years and just learned nothing new. They're still...
But if you can do 50% of the role in there, you can apply. Typically, you'll get ruled out on your years of experience if they're looking for 8 to 10 years. So, you know, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't apply if you think you can do it.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. This is kind of related to this too. Okay. So as a junior developer, at which point do you recognize that you are moving towards mid/senior level? Any particular skill or more specific experience in front-end, back-end area? So we kind of answered this.
So like what you're trying to do is, can you build a project on your own? Can you implement features without interaction from other people? Instead of just fixing bugs, can you implement brand new features or build a new project? Then you're moving towards mid to senior level. Senior level also is going to be covered architecture, soft skills. Can you communicate to the organization upwards, which means can I talk to high level management in a way that they can understand effectively and not be condescending? So like, you know, senior level people can architect the solution. They have great leadership capabilities. They may be a great teacher or a mentor to the other team. So there's a lot of areas in there for the senior level. But a lot of the senior level stuff, man, is like oral skills, communication skills, written skills, being able to design something, and being able to tell leadership at the business level like what they should be doing. Like, in other words, like, we want to build an app that does this. They need to be able to tell them like, oh, well, you know, that's not exactly what you need to do. You need to do A, B, and C instead. And so I think that's where a senior really comes in. Anyway, I hope that helps.
There you go. So Alan says, thanks. I plan on joining the boot camp. I think it starts in January. Yeah, January 4th.
Yeah, apply now, and it starts in January. Yep. We are taking apps right now, interviewing people. We'll start in November, and then, you know, plan to get you in there in January. It'd be great to see you, Alan.
Yeah, if you're interested, it is coderfoundry.com/apply. You can also find a link on learn.coderfoundry.com. If you just click on the virtual course banner at the top there, you can find that link there too. Okay. Let's see. Mr. Waffle says, I'm thinking about making web apps to add them to my portfolio, maybe generate passive income. Currently, I'm working on a website to learn Japanese. Any advice?
I don't know. I don't know how I'd go about learning Japanese. So, like, you know, sounds like a cool site if you can pull it off.
But I guess any advice on making passive income from side?
So you either can charge for the service, you can throw ads on it. I haven't really ran ads on a site to see kind of what that would do. I'm actually thinking about putting up a site like that to see kind of what it does, so I can be more knowledgeable about this area, because I do see lots of sites that are running like multiple of these ads. I'm just curious, like, what
from a scientific standpoint, like, how does it work?
Yeah, just like I don't think it's going to move the needle for me necessarily, but I'm always looking at it and from a different point of view. But so, you know, I may do that. So Kevin's seen the site I'm working on, so I'm just thinking about throwing ads on that one I showed you the other day, so just to see what it does.
Might as well.
Yeah. So like, and not necessarily to make money, but just to understand how the ad platforms work. How you get paid, and that way I can offer advice to people and say, here's realistically what you can think. You know, if you get this amount of traffic, you could probably expect this kind of cash. But like in general, if you want to make lots of money, I think still software as a service is the way to go. You're charging some kind of monthly fee to the users, and you got to bring significant value to them for them to sign up, and you're looking at selling to multiple users using your site. So but yeah, learning Japanese would be a service that people may want to learn.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to build an app that learns Japanese. That would be out of my wheelhouse at this point. You know, because I don't know Japanese at all.
Very interesting.
But I mean, there's language learning software out there, so you can go look at what other people are doing and try to copy their work.
Oh, there's plenty of competition. Yeah. Which validates the space. When you don't see any competition,
we always agree if there's someone already doing it, that means you should make it, not necessarily not make it.
Yep.
So.
Yep. If there's nobody doing it, you gotta ask yourself, why is nobody doing it?
Yeah.
Because chances are your ideas aren't always original. Just if somebody could make money doing it, they've already done it.
Right.
So it's very rare to have a truly original idea.
Yep.
Okay. Parisha, I hope I said that correctly. Apologies if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. This is an old question, is what it's saying. How real is age discrimination?
Yeah, I mean, we get this a lot. And so here's what I tell everyone. Number one thing you cannot change is your age. You can't change it. So if you get discriminated against it, there's really nothing you can do about it. What can you do?
Your plastic surgery and lie. You can do that.
Yeah, but in general, you can look at someone and go, "You're not 26, are you, Bobby?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm 32." You know,
no, you've had plastic surgery. No, you've had plastic surgery. You just lied about it. It's okay. You have
frozen. Is that what it is?
Get all the work done possible, and you're like 27. Like, but we interviewed you a year ago. You were 27 a year ago. Yeah. I'm perpetually 27. I don't age.
So, you know, I'm Benjamin Button. No, you're reverse age.
But you got to spend like $100,000 on getting all the plastic surgery. So, you know, probably not worth it at the end of the day.
So what I would say for an older junior developer, which we shocked what people think older. One guy was 25 yesterday. So like, you know, like
I think it was 27, wasn't it? Was it 25?
Yeah, it's something 20-something number under 30. So like, but you know, even if you're in your 50s, you're trying to break in. So what you want to do is make sure your projects scream that you can do this for a living, that you have expertise, and that's where the strong portfolio comes in. So all our advice is the same. You can't change age anyway, so don't worry about it. Just keep interviewing. The reason people hire younger programmers a lot isn't necessarily always what you would think. Oh, they're the smartest tool in the shed. No, they'll work for cheaper.
Right. That's generally what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's usually like I'm junior, which cluing in, I don't want to pay over a certain amount. So I feel like I can get the same thing done with junior devs. So so there's a lot of room out there. People say they don't hire junior devs. We see it every single day. I mean, everyone wants to pay 180 grand for a senior .NET developer, so
right.
Yeah, they're saying I can get 3 of those juniors devs, so I'm gonna do that. Surely we can get some stuff done. So I think you can win at any age in life. We said, yeah, if you're 98, they may question whether you're going to be here the next year, but so, but if you're anywhere, 20 to 60, I mean, you should be able to break in if you want to.
Yep. We've had people come to the boot camp in those age ranges, anything from, I think our youngest was 18 because they have to be 18 to come to boot camp. And our oldest, I think, was 59. Was it? Was somebody in the 60s? I think 59. Maybe. I know for sure 59 for sure because I can recall the person. But I think we've had people older as well. I think in their 60s. I think early 60s. Yeah. But I know for sure one that was 59. So, yeah.
The question is, how old do you think you are, and do you think you're aged out? Be a lifelong learner, and if you're the one that ages out. Typically, if you think I'm too old to do something, you won't do it.
Right.
But if you're a lifelong learner and committed to your craft, you're going to work in this industry. Hope that helps.
There you go. Okay, right, we're just a little bit past the hour, so let's wrap this up. Right. We'll be back again on next Tuesday. Oh, a couple of things. Don't forget, you can buy the book.
Yeah. November 8th, people. We have a big announcement November 8th. It'll be a Monday, and we're putting it all together, and we're excited about the things that we can tell you about November 8th. And so we're excited about that. So just
I wanted to start leaking it on Twitter, but I'm not allowed.
Save the date, November 8th. We got big announcements coming. And I think you'll be definitely motivated when we announce what we got. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I will also say we're not running any kind of weird game like we did last time with the
we're not.
Stuff.
So don't even look for that. We did that one.
I promise you, there's nothing like that. We did that once. We're not doing that this time. There's no hidden secrets in our tweets or anything like that this time.
But November 8th, the day that .NET 6 is released, we're going to be talking about .NET 6 that day, as well as some other announcements here at Coder Foundry, and I think you'll be interested in them. So November 8th, mark the day.
Yep. And before you guess, it's not that we're switching entirely to Java.
Yeah, we're switching to Java on the release of .NET 6.
If you guys want to speculate in Discord, go ahead. And I will neither...
Yeah, we're becoming Destiny 2 streamers. That's what we're going to do. We're going to switch this channel over to gaming content. So.
We're going to be all gaming all the time. Yeah, we're going to become Switch gamers. We're going to be streaming Switch stuff.
Yeah. Smash Brothers. That's what we need to do, man.
We're going to be Smash Brothers. That's it. Cool. Okay, well, we'll be back next week, Tuesday.
All right. See you guys later. Good luck and keep coding. Have a great weekend.
See you guys later.